Yo, what's going on, world? You are now tuned in to the one place where you can get all of your relationship content from good to bad, from lust to love. And we want to welcome you all to our Love Lounge, episode 7. What's going on, Bet?
Welcome.
All
Right.
right, what you got in your cup today? Let's
So
talk about it.
this is a morning episode. So
Yes.
once again, back at it. I just got some coffee with foam and caramel.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of liking the morning episodes. You know what I mean? And I get to have my Santa mug because you know what I told you on the last
Oh
pod.
Lord.
All December long, y'all getting a Santa mug. You heard?
And I'm gonna come up with a different mug every day.
Hey, you come with a different mug. I love it. I love it. Well, I got my mushroom matcha today. It's a little sweet. I put some caramel in there.
Oh, look at
Yeah.
you get
Yeah,
fancy.
you know I got a little fancy
Okay, I'll
today.
see
I
you
got a
with a
little
little
fancy.
sprinkle. Well, cheers.
Cheers up. All right, so let's get into some thread takes. I got Unique Steph here, and she says, I've noticed that many divorced people often remarry. And from an outsider's perspective, it seems that finding a partner is not very challenging for them. I've noticed people entering their second or third marriages, while it seems harder for those who have never been married to settle down. What is it that makes those who have been married before so desirable and appealing as potential spouses? And
That's
shout out,
interesting.
shout out, shout out to Unique Steph. Appreciate you.
That's interesting. I like. Okay, well, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. What are your thoughts?
So this is kind of interesting because I never actually even thought about this. It is very common for people that have been married to remarry sometimes 2 and 3 times, which there's so many ways to like tackle this question because one, I feel like when you're married, when you first get married, I think that a lot of times it's kind of like comparing it to like when you have your first child. You have a first child, you're not really sure what you're doing. You're kind of just doing the best you can and learning as you grow. And that second child, no disrespect to the first child, but that second child you get to raise up a little bit better and fix the mistakes that you made with your first one. So I think the first thing is when people first get married, I feel like sometimes it's like, okay, I got married, this is what I did. And then they may say, oh, I failed in this part of my marriage. I realized this. So yeah, marriage is still an option for me and I want to get married a second time. So they get married a second time. And then in that marriage, they try to fix those mistakes that they are aware of that they did in the first marriage. And then I also think that, anyone who gets married, I think initially your reason behind getting married is because one, you believe in love, you believe in marriage. So I think a lot of times when people get remarried, it's because they do believe in love and they do believe in marriage. So they want to seek that again and they say, maybe I did something wrong. So I just feel like when people go into their second marriage, it's kind of like, okay, I believe in love, I believe in marriage. I didn't do right my first marriage, so I want to make sure that I go into the second marriage and I'm very intentional with the mistakes that I made and fixing those mistakes, right? So I think that when you look at a person that's been married before, I feel like the second time they get married, it can appear to be like they're more desirable in marriage, but I just think that it's because that person that is remarrying is aware of the whole reason behind marriage in the first place. You know what I mean? Like I feel like when you're first trying to find someone, I think especially today in today's dating world, I feel like a lot of people have we talk about it multiple times. A lot of people have red flags that are just like I'm done. And I don't think that happens with people that have been married before so often. I feel like people are more inclined to get to know people and find out the reason find out a little bit more, find out what their whys for their red flag are. You know what I mean? Like, because in my mind, I'm thinking when people get married that that first marriage, you're probably not rushing into it, right? You're probably saying, I want to make sure everything is right with this person. I want to get to know this person deeply. I want to know their ins and outs. I want to know what makes them tick. I want to know what makes them upset. Today, people are getting married later, right? People are getting married way into their 30s. Back in the day, people were getting married as early as 18, 19, 20. They were getting married early. And they also were, people were marrying their like high school sweethearts. People were marrying their college sweethearts. Like, they had time to develop these relationships, but at a very young age. People today are moving different because they're dating at an age where they're a little bit older now, and they're trying to find that person that they're equally yoked with, right? That person that comes into it just as they're coming into it, whether it's this person doesn't have any kids, this person's never been married, this person has a house, this person doesn't have, like, this person has their own money, this person has a job. Whereas I think that that shifts in your second marriage, because now you're a little bit older, you're a little bit wiser, you know what you did the first time. So I think that makes someone a little bit more, because she said what makes them more desirable. That was the question, right? And I think that is kind of the experience makes them a little bit more desirable to actually remarry again. I think the wisdom within that first marriage and what they were seeking for makes them realize makes them more desirable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's making sense. I feel
No,
like I'm
I
kind of
got
like
you.
spinning in circles right now trying to explain this, but
No, I got you. I got you.
save me from myself.
Well, I feel like there's two different types of people in this world.
Okay.
You have the people who are more of the serial daters, don't really know what they want, and are, you know, kind of in that space where they are not willing to compromise with, someone else,
Okay.
and they only see things one way, and that's their way. And I think you have to be selfless when you enter a relationship, when you are entering a marriage. And I would say that I'm this type of person. Like, I grew up with seeing my grandmother and grandfather together. I grew up with my mom and dad in the same household. And, I grew up to want that for myself. I've always been one that had to be in a relationship. Like, I never was like a dater where I date like multiple people at the same time. Some people are okay with that. I'm not okay with that. I've always been a person who wants to be in a relationship. But getting back to the question that she asked, why is it that you are more desirable or appealing? I don't think it's more desirable or appealing. I think that people who have been married before are not just out here wasting time. I think they're that set of that group that I talked about that is a relationship type of person. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They're not out here to date and just be dating and serial dating. And it may seem hard for somebody who is a serial dater. This person who has been married has now had those experiences of marriage, and they're already a relationship type of person. So they take those experiences with them and they carry it into new relationships.
Yeah.
They know what they want. You know what I mean? Like, they are not wasting time. They're intentional about how they date. And for somebody on the outside looking in, it may look that way,
Yeah.
but that's not really the case.
Yeah.
I think you gotta look at yourself and see, understand what type of person that you are. A lot of people may say that they want to be married, but they're not willing to compromise. They're not willing to give up what they love. They're not willing to give up their lifestyle,
Yeah.
to be in a selfless relationship, if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. I feel like you touched on a lot of things that I said. I just was trying to figure out how to explain what I was saying. But that was you did. I understand what you're getting to, and I think it's again, it's the experience. So I agree with you that like maybe desirable isn't the case, and I use that word being that that was the word that she referenced. But I do think it's experience. It's like I said, most people that get married is it's because they believe in love, they believe in marriage. You don't go say I'm gonna go get married for a second time. Divorce is hard. Divorce is difficult. Divorce can be challenging, especially if it's not on amicable terms. So it's not like you're saying, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and do this again so that I can divorce again. I mean, there may be some people that are like that. Don't get me wrong. I know there definitely is some serial married couples, I guess, or
Yeah,
serial
yeah,
weddingers. I don't know what to
yeah.
call it, but
There's people that have
there's
been married 6, 7 times.
you know what I mean? Like there's people that have been married a lot. But I think that for the most part, you get married for those reasons. You believe in marriage, you believe in unity, you believe in becoming two people becoming one. And I think that that experience means a lot. I think that experience takes you in. It's like I said, like when you're first dating, you don't know what you want. You don't I don't want to say you don't know what you want. You say what you want, and sometimes you get into it and then other things come up where it's like, nah, I really ain't looking for that. Or you'll quickly put a man or a woman in a box because they did something that you're like, oh nope, that's my red flag, gotta get away. And I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah,
with experience comes wisdom, and I feel like that wisdom carries over. And
yeah,
and again,
yeah,
don't know the reasoning behind one marriage failing to the next marriage failing, but I agree that it's like it's that experience that a person they go into dating, and it's that I'm going to be intentional. I know what I want. I've been here before. I know what I'm willing to compromise. I know what I'm not willing to compromise. And I think that is why majority of people that have been married before go and remarry.
yeah. And I think that people who have been married have realistic expectations when
Facts.
dating. So
Facts.
like I think a lot of people have unrealistic expectations that are out there serial dating that are just dating a ton of people, and it gets me back to my point that if you have those unrealistic expectations, then you are going to be someone who's just gonna be out here dating forever because nobody's gonna live up to all of your expectations. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're looking for, the tall, dark, and handsome, like that don't always come around. You know what I'm
Not
saying? But if
you
somebody,
referencing yourself again.
I'm really not. I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. Like you want your man to be 6'3". You want your man to be tall, dark, and handsome. You want your man to drive a nice car. You want him to have money. You want him to own a home. You know what I mean? He owns property. All those things. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like
Nah,
you
I get you.
you were walking around looking for a unicorn. I would never look for somebody already put together. You got to understand, like every relationship is gonna be
Yep.
a project. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna meet somebody who's where you want to be. For end goals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's gonna take time to build, and I think a lot of people are impatient and they want it overnight. We're in
Facts.
the microwave era, and the people who remarry have those realistic expectations. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like they know what's important to them, and that's what they look for. And when you get two people that are on that same accord, then yeah, marriage kind of happens fast.
Yeah. I know.
Second or third time.
Facts. That's true. Very true. That kind of actually brings me to that makes me think of something else. It makes me think why do you think the reason is that people actually get married? Like if you had to say, I don't know, top five or couple two, three, what do you kind of touched on morals and values. Why do you think that people actually get married?
I think we as people, we were put on this earth to have companionship. People seek companionship, and nobody wants to be alone. No matter how many people out there that say that I'm independent and I'm doing my own thing and all this
I
stuff,
N
at
D
the
E P
at
E
the end of the
N D
day,
T.
at the end of the day, everybody wants companionship, and that's just a fact. At some point or another, I'm not saying that maybe you got out of a rough relationship and it's better for you to be alone and focus on yourself and build. But at some point, you're gonna reach a point in time where you are gonna be seeking companionship. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Yeah.
that is why we get married. Nobody wants to be old and alone.
Yeah.
That's really my answer to that. You know what I'm saying?
So
That's why
companionship is
people,
why you think.
yeah, I think people get married for those reasons. You marrying for money, if you're marrying for status, those things will fade. If you're marrying for beauty, those things will fade, right? But companionship is everything. Finding somebody that you want to build with and build a life with, I think that's honestly the key, to marriage, to a successful marriage. If you're in it for the wrong reasons, then it won't last anyway. Like you
Yeah.
out here you looking for the wrong thing.
Yeah. No, I believe that people get married. I think that it is obviously love is a huge part of marriage. I think that love is definitely probably up there as far as like top. and I feel like love and companionship kind of go hand in hand, because with companionship comes love and vice versa. So I just feel like that is very much like same. I think that's like a top reason, but I think that people also get married for security. I think that people get married for obviously family. If you have people get married, you don't, not saying that obviously today is not as traditional as it was maybe 50 years ago. So a lot of people can still have a family and not be married.
Yeah, but
But
when you say security, what do you mean by that?
when I say security, I mean, I don't mean, I think that people probably automatically think I mean like financial security. I think security means safety. Like for, I think that's important. I think that the person, for me, I'm speaking from a woman's perspective. So for me, again, there's love, companionship, security. I want to feel safe with my partner. I want to feel safe. And when I say safe, I don't
and,
necessarily
and
also mean
and do you feel safe?
obviously we're married. You're so stupid. But I'm saying security, like I want to be able to be like, if I go somewhere or if we go somewhere and someone, it happens, if someone confronts you or somebody is rude to you or somebody does something, I know that you got me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Security means if we're driving in a car and I'm using examples just so that you understand exactly what I mean for security. So y'all gonna be like, she using some random examples, but I'm saying security. I want to be in a car and you hit the brakes real hard and then you immediately grab me. You know what I mean? What did your mom used to do when you were in the front seat?
yeah,
Your dad used to do
yeah,
when you're in the front seat and they hit the brakes heck hard and traffic comes to a halt. They grab you like this, right?
yeah.
Security, they're making sure you're safe. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I want to be walking on a street and someone's coming down the street and maybe it's a man. He looks like he's a little angry, or maybe I mean, I don't know, you walking downtown, there's a lot of homelessness, might be somebody that's just walking looking a little off, and I want you to put me on the other side so that you can walk closest to the person that's looking a little crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like I want
Yep,
to feel
yep.
safe. I want to be in my home, and if an intruder comes in, I feel like my husband is going to take care of me and my kids. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean by security. And I know a lot of you guys are going immediately to financial security. I think for sure that's a huge thing as well. Huge thing. And that's also kind of brings me to another point. I feel like another thing with people that get married the first time, their reasons for marriage may differ their second time for their reasons for marriage. So love and companionship may be up there. I think that's always going to be up front, but it could turn around to security or it could turn around to financial security. That
Yeah,
could be their number one.
that could have been a void there in a last relationship that now you're looking for that. You right?
Yeah, and I think they can be interchangeable, right? So
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, I was married the first time, I was looking for love and companionship, and I got that, but I didn't realize that my partner couldn't provide a family for me, because I found out later he didn't want kids, or my partner couldn't provide security for me. I found that he didn't care about keeping me safe. He didn't care about those things. He turned a blind eye to a man talking to me crazy. He didn't like confrontation or whatever the case is. So I think that those are interchangeables. You might go into your next marriage and say, you know what, financial security means more to me than love and companionship. Love and companionship can come, but I need that financial security. Or it's just security in general, or it's family is first, because now you're in your 30s or you're in your 40s and now you're
yeah.
like, I didn't
Nah,
get that family that I wanted,
that's
now
a
I want
fact.
family. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
a fact. Yeah, sometimes like as life goes, like things change.
Yep.
Like if you got married early in your 20s or whatnot, like you may be looking for something totally different now that
Yep.
you're in your 30s and you still want to experience marriage and love and all those things. You may be looking for something totally different than you was in your 20s. So that's a fact. I agree.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people today when they're dating, I think that their their reasons, I think that it's like I feel like people don't have a grasp really on in the dating world, and I'm just going off of like knowledge, what I hear, what I see. And a lot of people that are in the dating world today, they think that they know what they want, and they think that they think they know what they want, but it's also sometimes they get what they want and it's sitting right in front of them, but because there's some little small thing, like we've discussed this before, oh, he lives at home with his parents. Look, I'm not saying that obviously I was against living at home with your parents, being a grown man, but still, I think that there's little things like that that people are just like, you have everything I'm looking for, but that one thing, I just can't deal with that, and then they
Yeah.
just dip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like, and it's that thing that you said about compromise. It's that person that's going into their second marriage probably knows a little bit more about compromise than that person that's looking to get married within their first marriage. You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
that's another huge thing is that people in the dating world today are quick to just shut off people because they didn't check or fit in the box that they've created of all the things that you have to have before I can marry you.
Yeah, yeah, and I really go back to those people that are out there that are just dating. They think they want marriage, but do you really want marriage, or do you even know what that means? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I think a lot of people have a misconception about marriage and think that it's supposed to be this fairy tale when like life be life, and it's a real thing. You know what I mean? Life is a
Yeah.
real thing. It's a real thing when you are in a relationship. Like, just because you get married doesn't mean that all your troubles go out the window.
Nope.
And people think that marriage is going to solve these things, and it doesn't. It really doesn't. It takes work, it takes time, and you just got to continue to build it with someone that you love. And I think there are people that are incapable of being selfless, and I think they live a very selfish lifestyle.
Yeah.
They are about what they want, and it's not about they significant other. So when you see these people who have never been married before and are having trouble finding a person, I think a lot of it has to do with them as as a person, and they really need to do some self reflecting and figure out what is it about them that is not appealing to someone who's looking for marriage.
Yeah.
What is it about them that makes them shut other people down when they have a flaw or they don't check off a certain box? What is it about them? I think you really got to look in the mirror at yourself when you are having trouble finding someone.
No. Yeah. No. And I think again we talk about just going into marriage, like we were talking about going into marriage, finding marriage, getting married, being married for a second time, being married multiple times or whatnot. But I also think that it's important to really find, really also find out what it is, what your life looks like in marriage, because like you said, it's not easy, and it's not like it's a fix all, or it becomes, oh, I'm married, so this is a fairy tale that we're living and it's going to be great because we're married. It's not like that. There's a lot of behind the scenes that goes on before you can even get to that point of marriage. And I think that I think another point to bring up with people that are being married first time, I think that today, again, we don't live in the world today where people are getting married early, where people are getting married 19, 20, 21. You know what I mean? We don't live in that world. And I think a lot of that has to do with society and how we're being brought up, how the world is viewed, what's going on in the world as far as how it's harder financially, right? So I think a lot of people are gearing, and I'm moving into a different direction, but a lot of people are gearing into like, I want to do everything that I want to do first. I want to be successful first. I want to get the job first. I want to make sure I go to college first. You know what I mean? And I think that people automatically write marriage off at an early stage in their life because they're so focused on their self. And I think that, and don't get me wrong, that's 100% it's great, but I think that I have a I have a friend that always says that like you can only have one. You either get the family early or you get the career early. And the people that choose career early are the ones that don't end up getting married, or they're still looking for their partner later on in life. And I used to be like, because we're opposite in that way, right? I early got married, and she early went for her career, and now she's still looking for her partner. And then I'm at this point in my stage, I'm like, now I'm searching for the perfect career, right? So it's like people say that it's one or the other, and I hate that it has to be that compromise. I think what happens is that when people are so focused on their self, or so focused on getting into getting into a space where they feel like they're good on their own if they have to be on their own, that I feel like that they ignore the people that are coming into their lives. You know what I mean? The people that they ignore wanting to be in a relationship. And I
Yeah, they
think
got
that's,
tunnel vision. They
yeah,
look, they got their
exactly.
eyes set on something else. So
It's a different prize. But I do believe that both can be true. I believe that you can find your career and find your family at the same time. I just think it's important to take off those blinders and make sure that you're aware of the people that are coming in and out of your life and still be open to finding love. And I think that right now that's kind of a part of like the dating world right now, because we look at the dating world and if we're looking at it, like it's majority of the people that are older. We're talking about like 25 and up are probably on the apps right now dating, or people are trying to find love. And it's because at 25, you're probably done with college, you did what you wanted to do, you didn't travel, and now it's like you're looking for that partner. So I think that again, it's like a very important, if you're looking for marriage and you're still looking for that first person, we talked about the second marriage and third marriage, but if you're still looking for that first time of being married, you got to make sure that you take those blinders off and are not turning down an opportunity to have both. Obviously
yeah,
that's in a perfect world, but I think it could happen.
on your independent shit, traded off for a husband and some kids.
Oh my gosh.
That's for real. That's for real. That's for real. Don't be so independent that you
Don't block your
disregard.
blessings.
Yeah, yeah. You start blocking your blessings. You disregard the people that are out there trying to build with you. Don't have that tunnel vision where you just focused on your career, because at the end of the day, what do you really want in life? What do you really want? I think as you get older, you realize what's really important.
Yep.
And I think that you can have both. You can still build a career while being in a relationship and having kids, having a family. I think people get so focused on what they are doing that life is passing them by.
Yep.
And, now your youth is gone, you know.
Not your youth being gone.
Yeah, you out of here. You know what I mean? You're getting older. And you getting older, I think you grow in value as far as status, but you lose value as you get older, as far as, in the dating world and what,
You
you
just
know,
dropped a gem. That was a good
people
one.
I do. I feel like, as you get older, you develop a career, you develop status, you develop all those different things, your financial stability, all those different things, right? But at the end of the day, what's really important, if you got all this money and you got nobody to share it with, then you know what are you doing? You know
What are you doing?
what are you doing? So
That's
that's
good.
how I feel.
Well, moving on. Let's go ahead and move on to today's media takes.
On your independent shit,
I can't.
trade it all for a husband and some kids. You ever wonder what it all really mean? Let's go. Let's
I
go.
can't
Nah,
with
go
you.
ahead.
Hey. Okay, so on today's media takes, I was on Instagram scrolling and I seen a post and it said actress Kyla Pratt and her fiance Danny Kirkpatrick celebrate 21 years of engagement.
Damn.
Kyla Pratt's fiance Danny Kirkpatrick and Kyla Pratt said, "Yes, we are still engaged, having made it clear they are not in any rush to officially tie the knot." 21 years is crazy. And if you don't know who Kyla Pratt is, maybe you guys are too young to watch this channel. Google Kyla Pratt. No, I'm just kidding. You take that.
Damn.
But yes, so how do you feel about long-term engagements? That is my question. Is that a let's just have an open forum about long-term engagements. What is too long? What is too short? What does it mean? Are they ever getting married? Let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, man,
21 years is crazy.
21 years is crazy. Like, I feel like man,
And they
if
have
you
two
if
kids together.
and they have two kids, I'm normally in a space where I think whatever works for you, right? But 21 years is crazy. Like I feel like why get engaged if you have no intentions on ever getting married? You know what I mean? What are you really waiting for? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, is it even an engagement at that point? You just have a
Yeah,
ring on your
like
finger.
is it just to tie you down to say, like so that she doesn't go anywhere because you engaged, like she's not, you know what I mean? Like what are you trying to accomplish by being engaged for 21 years? I think that's crazy. Number one, I think that's on the man at the end of the day because the man is the one that proposes. 99% of the time,
Yep.
it's the man that proposes. Like, if I'm gonna get down on one knee and propose, like, I have to be at a space. I have to be in a space where I am ready for marriage.
That's where you should be.
And that's where you should be, right? And if you say yes to the engagement as a woman, then you have to be in a space where you are ready for marriage as well. You know what I'm saying? And I think the engagement period should be to solidify like the wedding. You know, to think about like your vows, all those different things, plan out your honeymoon. Like I feel like that's the engagement period. That's what the engagement period is for. It's not for you to just say, "All right, we engaged and now we cool, like we buying time." Like and I think a lot of men out there they get engaged to tie a woman down
To
and then
satisfy a woman.
yeah, to satisfy her, because maybe she's nagging about
Yep.
getting married and all those different things. So, all right, I'm gonna get a ring and I'm gonna put it on your finger, and now you happy? Like that's buying me time. Like, all
Yeah.
right, now I got like 3 years, 4 years before I actually have to get married, and maybe I'll be in that space then. I think if you're not there when you get on one knee, then you shouldn't get on one knee. Period. Like I feel like you have to be
All that.
ready. You have to be ready to take that next step. And if you're gonna get down on one knee, don't even get down on one knee.
Yeah.
Like if you're not ready for that. Like, and I feel like too many men try to buy time with the engagement ring
Yeah. I
and be thinking like maybe in the next couple years, I'll be ready. So I'm gonna put this ring on her finger now. Like don't even do that. Like you either ready or you're not.
yeah, and I think that, like I said, an engagement is, so we have, let's just go through the stages. So there's old school promise rings, right? You give someone a promise ring, and it's like usually a girlfriend boyfriend situation, and it's like, I promise to be with you, only you, and I promise to one day get down on one knee and propose to you, right? That is what a promise ring is. It's like, I promise that we're going to get to that point, right? So then you get the engagement ring. The engagement ring is, okay, we are now engaged in each other. It's just us. We are going to walk down that aisle and become one in front of all of our family, friends, peers, whatever you want to say, in front of all of them. This is going to be our commitment to each other. So it's like, what was the reason you got down on one knee? Was it so that you can have this grand proposal and tell the family? I don't really get it. Like, again, to each his own. For me, we're not engaged if it's been 21 years. We are long-term partners, and I have a ring on my finger. That's it.
Yeah.
And the ring is probably just a long-term promise ring that I promise to be with you and only you. You know what I mean? Like that's just, and look, we were engaged for a couple years. So I don't want to necessarily say there's a time frame on engagement, because I think what works for one doesn't always work for most. And it's up to you to set those standards, as long as both people that are involved are aware of it. But I do think that is something that when you get down and you get on that one knee and you ask for a woman's hand in marriage, it's with the intention of actually getting married, whether that's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, whether you're in the process of planning. But like at 21 years, it's not an engagement anymore. Like baby girl, you just got a ring on your finger. Like, that's what it is. And rings are fun, but that's just, I don't think, when are you going to get married? And I
Yeah.
understand that there's reasons why people may later find after engagement, there's reasons why you decide not to get married. I could say, we could bring up, since we're on media takes, we could bring up what Chrissy and Jim Jones. I remember on one of them reality TV shows that she was on, she was saying, like, I'm not getting engaged because he's got a whole bunch of financial issues that, like, I'm not marrying into at this time. He's got to get those resolved so that that doesn't become mine, which that should have been something that was talked about a long time ago. But I understand what I'm saying is, I understand there may be reasons why you don't end up getting married. But at that point, it's like, it's just not an engagement. Like, you're just not
Yeah,
engaged.
and look, in that case, that's why I say, like, every relationship is different, and whatever works for you and yours, like, I'm cool with. I don't have an opinion about, but I will say that, yeah, you get engaged with the intentions on getting married someday.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And in that case that you brought up, like, it could be a financial thing where you don't want to inherit that debt. And if that's the case, then, like you said, I think that those things need to be ironed out before we even get to this point. But I guess the engagement and an arrangement like that is, all right, we getting engaged and we're gonna work on getting you out of debt. You
Getting
know
you
what
out
I
of
mean?
debt.
So
Yeah.
that we can get married. And maybe
Exactly.
that takes you longer. But 21 years, if you're
What?
not out of debt, if you're not out of debt at 21
21
years,
years
like,
or whatever it is that is
I just,
happening. 21
yeah,
years is crazy. Like,
yeah.
our oldest nephews aren't even 21. That's
No, I just
21
feel
years is
like,
a long time.
yeah, and I feel like at a certain point, like, you have to prioritize you guys getting married. Like, and I feel like if it goes that long, 21 years, you guys have not prioritized you getting married. We don't know what the circumstances are. We don't know if there was, like, debt that is gonna get inherited or anything like that. But what I will say is, if that is the case, when you get engaged, you should start working towards getting married,
Yeah.
whatever that case may be.
That's the
You know what I
goal. That's
mean?
the
That's
purpose.
the goal. That's why we got engaged, right? So you have to prioritize whatever it is that's holding you back from getting married. Like, our story, we were trying to have this grand wedding. You know what I'm saying? And we needed to save up. We needed to, put ourselves in a position where we are not struggling. Because my number one thing going into marriage is that, like, I don't want to go to marriage, and I don't want to get into marriage and be in debt.
Over
You
a
know what I'm
wedding.
saying?
Yeah.
Over a wedding, a lot of people get married and they're automatically in debt.
Yep.
So I know people who have gotten divorced and they still
Still,
have
oh, on the
that debt
wedding.
from the wedding. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't
Facts.
I didn't want to be those people. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So that it was important to me to be in a space where we can actually get married and not be in debt.
And it worked, honestly. Like, our engagement wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentionally supposed to be a long engagement. I know majority of people, when they usually get engaged, it's like 6 months to 24 months, right? And that is, for me, I think that's like the timing on engagement. Again, that's why to each his own, because for me, I'm actually glad it turned out that we actually were engaged a little bit longer, because again, we were saving up for that big, large wedding. We immediately started planning. We immediately started writing down all our guests that we wanted to come. Year and a half later, I didn't talk to half of those people. Can you imagine if we would have went into it a year, paid for all those people to come to our wedding so they can see this grand wedding, and then end up being in debt because of them extra plates and that extra space that you had to get, because there's 100 people that we invited that we don't even talk to anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
that's crazy.
it's crazy.
That's
So
crazy.
again, to each his own. I think the engagement also, but also at that same, it gives you time. It gives you time to realize some things that are important and some things that aren't important. It gives you time to evaluate things. So that's why I say I don't believe that it has to be, oh, we have to, an engagement should be 1 year, should be 2 years. I think
Yeah.
that whatever the time is, but during that time that we were engaged, at no point did we stop discussing our wedding. And I'm not saying we discussed it every day. I'm not saying we even discussed it every week. But at no point was it not on our mind. Was it not? We knew the time frame we wanted to get married. We knew we wanted a summer wedding. We knew that the people that had to be there. We knew what we were looking for, and we continually discussed
Yeah,
what we were looking
we
at.
were working towards it,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. So, like, I just think 21 years. Like, if you haven't resolved whatever it is that's holding you back from getting married, then that's probably never gonna happen.
No.
Maybe it will, but I'm just saying, like, like I don't put a time frame on anything either because I don't know what you're working through. Maybe you're working on infidelity. Maybe you're
Yeah.
working on, therapy. Maybe you're working on some things behind the scenes that is keeping you from taking that next step, but you both feel like you still want to be together. So I get like a long engagement, but I feel like you should always be working towards that end goal, which is to
To
be
get
married.
married. Yeah. And I just in 21 years again, if you're not in any rush to tie the knot after 21 years, I don't foresee there would be any rush ever. You know what I mean? Like, and not to say rush is a little too definite of a word. Rush. You're just not. I don't think that your intention is ever to get married if you're in no rush to get married. Again, that's just my opinion. I think that. And I think that a lot of times too, it's like, okay, we're engaged. We're going to keep saying we're engaged because it's weird to be like, we're not, but just don't have a wedding. Like if it's not your thing to be married because you don't believe, if things, something has shifted and you don't believe in being married anymore, you don't believe in that type of commitment, that type of unity between you, your spouse, and the pastor being wed, then maybe you just don't get married. Like
Yeah.
I don't think there ever will be a rush if after 21 years there's no rush.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to even say rush because I don't feel like anyone should rush into marriage either. I think there should be a period where you both are truly getting to know each other. I believe in moving in with your significant other before even proposing and all those
Ooh,
things.
that's a
Like,
different topic.
yeah, so maybe we got to jump into that at some point. But I believe in that too. Like you should really figure out if you can live with this person. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because once you get married, then there you go. And I think a lot of people rush into marriage. So I don't want to say rushing into it after being engaged, but I will say that when you make that commitment and you get on one knee, you should already know that you want to be
Yeah.
married at some point and you should be working towards getting married
100%.
once you are engaged.
Otherwise, what was the reason behind the engagement in the first place?
Yeah.
You
You
know?
trying to tie her down. I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
And
Trying to tie her
again,
down.
if you just want to give somebody a ring, then you might as well just say, "This is a promise ring. Don't get down on one knee."
Yeah, but
I'm traditional. I don't know.
but ain't no woman going for that.
I mean,
No grown woman is going for a promise ring.
yeah, but
You know what I'm
I
saying?
also feel like
He was trying to hold her down, man.
he's-
He's trying to hold her down. He didn't. He wanted her to be turning down these young dudes coming up, lemon pepper steppers. The cats that was stepping to her. He wanted her to be shutting those dudes down, and that's what it is. He was trying to tie her down. That's what I think it was.
well, maybe that is the case, but yeah, 21 years. Yes, I know.
It's a
Yes, I
no
know.
on 21 years.
Yes, I know. All right, well, you heard it here.
Yes, you heard it here. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of our Love Lounge. Again, this is episode 7. We're going to continue to bring you all of the relationship content from good to bad, from lust to love. And we just thank all of you guys for tuning in. So, cheers to episode 7, love.
Cheers to episode 7
Another one.
and another one.